Good morning, sunshine. Alrighty, today we're going to talk about love from a mindful point of view, or a Buddhist point of view, or just a human point of view, or maybe a grown-up's point of view. So not in a grown-up serious kind of way, but we all think about love in a kind of fairy tale way. I think when we're younger, first love is powerful, it's beautiful, it's transformative, it changes our whole life. But then we grow up and love gets complicated. Love seems to not be around that much sometimes. And then we start watching all these sort of, we start getting kind of educated by society about what love is. And that tends to be kind of, silly rom-com on a Saturday night when you don't feel like going out kind of movie. And most of these rom-coms are sort of silly. So if you want to participate today, you can leave a comment, you can leave a question. Maybe right now everyone could say where you are and what you think society's definition of love is. Love in a relationship, love that you're looking for, love that you're longing for. What is society's definition? And then I'll share 10 quotes about love that I've found particularly inspiring. And then if all of you, again, want to say where you are and what in a very short sentence is your notion of love. So first, what do you think is maybe wrong with or mistaken about society's notion of love? So what I would say is that society's notion of love is, as captured well in Jerry Maguire, is this sort of you complete me notion of love, that I am an incomplete Lego. I am a Lego piece. I am lonely. I am not enough. And that she or he or whatever is out there, and that at some point we'll meet cute. She'll drop a book or a magazine in a bookstore, and I'll pick it up, and our eyes will connect, and we'll go on a series of dates, and we'll fall in love, and then briefly some ex-boyfriend will come by, and then she'll be running through the rain to apologize to me, and then we'll get married, and all of our best friends will be there, and we'll get drunk in Vegas, and we will not be eating local food or living mindfully at all. We'll just have a great old party, and then we'll live happily ever after. And that's sort of, I feel like, the typical rom-com version of love, is that there's a little bit of emotion, but basically you're on the train track to a perfect life together, a couple kids, smiling grandparents, everything's just easy. So it's the happily ever after notion. So I'm going to read a couple of your comments and share that. I guess what I would say is that's wrong with the notion of love I just described, while it's kind of a fun movie, is that happily ever after is a day at a time. There's a little quote for Lindsay. Toby, if you want to share it. Toby is our editor who's in comments. And Toby, if you could maybe share the first chapter of my book. So I wrote a book, Things I Would Like to Do With You, that I actually brought today. I've never really been showing it off. I'm anti-hawking on this show unless it's hopefully mindful and helpful in your life. And if it's an eco-responsible product. So this book I wrote, it's hardcover, and unlike every other book out there, it's kind of pretty on the back, and it's not plastic coated. So books have become very plastic and they never fall apart. So anyway, I wrote this book, and the first chapter about that longing, and I think that longing from a Buddhist point of view is that that sort of you complete me notion of longing. You're like, oh, I just want someone out there to come and make everything perfect so I don't have to suffer or struggle or be confused in life. The problem there is that is sort of the nature of life, that life is impermanent, that our hearts feel, and that's okay, and we can't get away from that. And that a genuine love is going to be a match, is going to be like a dance partner. There's give, and there's take, and there's rhythm, and there's balance, but the balance is not static. It's not 50-50. The balance is always fluid, like surfing a wave. And there's a humor to it, and there's a eye contact, there's a personal joy that comes out of sadness, which is one way of saying empathy, that you're connecting. Wow, my experience, your experience, it is so great to be with someone who is a match. So I write about that notion in this book, and I don't want to hold it up because I'm going to start feeling like an infomercial. But if you feel like reading the first chapter, you're welcome to. It's probably my, rather spontaneous expression of that. So I went on this date with this wonderful person, and I came back from that date and I just wrote this. And you know how the internet is. Everyone's crazy and mean on the internet, except for hopefully you guys. And it was the first thing I'd ever written where everyone was really nice about it. So I kept writing, and then it became a book. So now I'm going to read your notions of a kind of mistaken love. It's almost like, how magazines have this notion of what makes a beautiful woman. She has to be tall and thin and with big boobs and hopefully blonde or white. There's this sort of weird idea of beauty in media. Well, we have that same idea with love. And then we go out looking for that love. And no wonder many of us, it kind of is a good business model because then we're sad and disappointed because we don't find that notion of love. Which is about you're going to make everything perfect and happily ever after. And then we're sad and we go eat Cherry Garcia and watch more rom-coms. So it's kind of a good capitalism model. Alrighty. Cindy, Mohammed, thank you. Nicole. Yeah, Nicole. So there's a lot of great quotes about... Oh, I think we're live. Are we live? If we're live, say yes. And only a few people need to say yes. The video just said it completed. So I could be talking to myself, which would not be the first time. All right. I think Nicole says, I think you have to complete yourself first. Yeah, you're skipping to part 2. But so what is society's notion of a confused love or a wrong sort of notion of love? From Jelena, hey, from Bowie, Texas. I remember you. We all need to love and accept each other. Okay, so no one is saying what society's confused notion of love. Yeah, Stephen, right on. All of you, Jelena, Stephen, everyone's right on. Cindy, I'd love to hear more from you since you're an expert. You've written about it. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm live. Thank you for saying yes, everybody. Lana, or Lena, it's a great question. So I guess nobody's playing along today. So I was hoping you all would sort of mention a confused notion of love, but you're all just mentioning really profound, wonderful notions of love. So first I'm going to read from my book this wonderful quote. So even if you hate my book, there's a whole bunch of great quotes in here about a kind of mature, real, fun, kind of soulful feeling notion of love. A notion of love where you don't complete me, but where we're a match and where we're genuine and we can be honest even when we're confused, and we can be gentle even when we're mad or disappointed. Because we're not leaning on each other, because we're not expecting the other person to completely complete me. So here's a quote by Rilke, good guy. All right. What is required of us is that we love the difficult and learn to deal with it. In the difficult, we are the friendly forces, the hands that work on us. Right in the difficult, we must have our joys, our happiness, our dreams. There against the depth of this background they stand out. There for the first time we see how beautiful they are. That's Rilke. So I think the notion is that we have to love the difficult and learn to deal with it. Right in the difficult we must have our joys. So that to me is a Buddhist, reflects what I would call a Buddhist notion of love, which, and Toby, I have a blog titled The Buddhist Notion of Love that maybe you could share, or I have another blog with a scary title, but it's probably one of the better things I've ever written, called Love is Selfish. And if you feel like reading those, you can. Maybe Toby will put those in the comments. But basically the notion that love is a path. Love is a partnership. You can hold hands, but you're not going to just completely fall or lean on each other. You have to stand up. If both people fall and lean on each other, it's sort of like two drunk college kids walking home from the bars. It might be cute, but it's not a way to conduct a lifelong relationship, especially when you have kids and stuff. So independence. So can love be founded on independence? Can love be founded on change? Can love be founded on mutual respect? Can love be rise above these sort of Mad Men gender roles that many of us, even if we don't think we were brought up with, where the man has to be strong and not complain, and the woman has to be kind of beautiful and domestic and, take care of the kids kind of thing. So that's what this book is about. So let's look for another little quote, shall we? So that's quote number 1. Ding. And then I'll come back to all of your comments and go through them, and then we'll do 2 minutes of meditation, as we do every day, Monday through Friday, at 11 a.m. MST or thereabouts. And then the only other thing I would mention is Facebook is kind of turning down the dial on all news on Facebook. So if you want to keep elephant in your life, Facebook is not going to do it for you anymore. You're going to need to get our newsletter. This is not a pitch, it's free. If you want to keep elephant, some mindful content in your life, get the newsletter. And that's at the top of every page. You can just click newsletter. And in so doing, you're supporting independent media, you're keeping our editors in jobs, and our best writers will be able to write good stuff for you. So it's kind of a virtuous circle. All right. There's a Leonard Cohen quote, F. Scott Fitzgerald quote, Lord Byron. I'm looking for one that reflects what we're talking about. Here's a beautiful quote, or an ugly quote. Beauty is only skin deep, but ugly goes clean to the bone. Dorothy Parker. Love her. That's not really about love, but she's amazing. All right. If you love Dorothy Parker, there's this great movie called Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle about the founding of the New Yorker that I love. No rush, right? So many good quotes, but all right, here's a good one. It's worth the wait. From Bell Hooks. Bell Hooks. Knowing how to be solitary is central to the art of loving. When we can be alone, we can be with others without using them as a means of escape. I don't think almost any commentary is needed there. There's another quote that sort of echoes that, which is something like, instead of looking for love, we can look to love ourselves more fully, and then we'll be ready for love. Something along that notion. So Toby, I know we've shared this probably every time, but Maitri is the path of loving kindness for oneself and then others. And Maitri we could put in the comments. There's a quote from It's a Wonderful Life. Quote from Rai. You all know Anais Nin. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. So that echoes the notion of Cocoon. And Toby, we could put Cocoon in the comments. Cocoon is a wonderful notion where we can be safe, we can be comfortable. At some point, once we're alone, we can almost get too comfortable being alone, and then we have to be brave, and we have to open up the windows and get fresh air and jump out and be brave. And join OkCupid. Or join Meet Mindful, who's one of our partners. So I'm actually on Meet Mindful. It's kind of fun. It's a mindful dating site. It's like, unlike every other dating site, it seems to be like 90% women on there, or maybe it's just because I'm seeing women. So guys, if you're looking for a mindful partnership, I recommend Meet Mindful. And if you guys feel like saying hi to me, you can just message me. You don't have to ask me out, because I'm very far away from all of you, and I'm not fun to go out with. All right. Anyway. All right, here's another great quote, similar. Eleanor Roosevelt, I think we're on number 4. Happiness is not a goal. It's a byproduct of a life well lived. I'm going to read that twice, because the coffee hasn't kicked in. Happiness is not a goal. It's a byproduct of a life well lived. Well, that's so simple, it's almost easy to miss. Happiness is not something that you can get, or that you can buy, or that you can work for, or that you can self-improve toward. It's simpler than that. It just happens when you're... So Eleanor Roosevelt said she was never happy in her life until somewhere around the age of 40. She started helping other people, service, engaging in that actively. And for the first time, she was truly happy. Like, you know, for those of you who love children, I grew up, you know, taking care of children in summer camps and in Buddhist sort of children's camps. And it was so fun. It's like life is never more fun than when you're in a community kind of helping people. And then happiness just happens. Okay, here's another quote. I think this is number 5 in the mindful quotes about love journey that we're on. To conceal anything from those to whom I am attached is not in my nature. I can never close my lips where I have opened my heart. Charles Dickens. So there's a whole chapter on this in here called, well, I'll just show you if I can find it, called Things I Would Like to Hear from You When You Are Afraid. So often, ironically, in love, we everything's great until we hit a rough patch, and then we don't communicate. We don't open up. And that can be enough to kill a relationship. Or if it doesn't kill the relationship, it can kill the love. So, but even that's okay, because you can just communicate. So communicate about the things that are hard. Communicate when you feel awkward about communicating. Be honest. Without honesty, love really can't happen. I have been around couples who have had some issues, and I have heard one or the other one say with another friend, and this has happened several times, I'm not going to tell him, I'm not going to tell her, it'll just hurt her, it'll just hurt him. Well, it'll hurt you and your trust and openness, and it'll hurt him or her even more not to be open. So you got to be open. If you make a mistake, that's part of relationships. Be open about it. And if you can't recover from that mistake and being open about it, then maybe the mistake was too big, and that's a lesson. And then we can go into our next relationship with a little bit of a more sense of responsibility in terms of how we messed up last time. So I'll just read a very short bit from Chogyam Trungpa. It's right here. Any confusion you experience, so he's a Buddhist teacher, so he loves to talk about confusion. Any confusion you experience has within it the essence of wisdom automatically. That's a profound notion, that confusion is not a problem, wisdom is within it. So you don't throw away the confusion, you don't try and suppress confusion, you try and open it up. As Trungpa Rinpoche also said, he said, chaos should be regarded as extremely good news. And I think we have a blog on that, Toby. If you feel like putting that in the comments, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Any confusion you experience has within it the essence of wisdom automatically. So as soon as you detect confusion, it is the beginning of some kind of message. At least you are able to see your confusion, which is very hard. Ordinarily, people do not see their confusion at all. So by recognizing your confusion, which is through the practice of meditation, and we'll do 2 minutes of that at the end of this, you are already at quite an advanced level. So you shouldn't feel bad about that. You should feel good about it. You should not be terrified of your confusion, but you should look into it further. You should push into it instead of closing yourself off. In that way, you just keep unfolding and unfolding like flowers in the summertime. Even though they are exposed to weather, to the wind and rain, flowers keep unfolding themselves until finally they bloom at their best. You could be like the flowers. You could let the bees sit on you and take your honey away, and that would be fine. Chogyam Trungpa. It's a good Buddhist teacher. And then I start, I would like to, this is me, I would like to communicate with you about difficult things. Love can survive fear only if acknowledged. Things are not easy always. A love affair is not imagination. It is the vicissitudes of daily life. It is two life streams intermingling. It is heavy silence with nothing to say. It is inadvertently making big deals about small nothings. I would like to hear you give voice in the hard times. Then I can know this is a river of true love and not merely a shallow standing pool. Love is not fantasy. It is bricks and mortar. Relationship is earth. Love is fantasy, too. It is heaven, dreams and hormones and pleasure in biology and sudden laughter. It is the rub between the two that creates sparks, earth striking against heaven. It is communication that is water that cools those sparks and gets us through the fear of loss, the difficult times, the simple arguments over dishes or the serious arguments over ethics. And then it's that Rilke quote that we started with. So that's probably a good time to to stop and to read your comments. So if you have any comments or questions about the Buddhist notion of love, about a mindful love, now's your chance. And you all can comment to one another too. I don't know everything, to say the least. All right, so I'm starting at the top. Toby, thank you for the comments. Toby is the editor, so Elephant is leaving blogs and such that are relevant to what we're talking about. Coffee. Love, but first coffee. So Lana had a great question. When do you give up in love when it's not enough? Love is never going to be enough. Again, love shouldn't complete you. Love should be, as I write about in this book, love should be friendship, and with a little spice of attraction and greater intimacy. But think about your best friend. Like, you don't give up on your best friend necessarily. You're just friends. You kind of almost take the relationship for granted, not day to day because you take care of the relationship, but long term. You don't think, oh, when am I going to break up with my best friend? Instead, you're just good friends and you're honest, and you go through hard times, you go through lean times, you go through times when you don't see them, you go through times when you see them all the time, you go through random times when you have amazing connections. And hopefully love can be founded on best friendship. So love shouldn't just be the castle and the romance and the kind of happily ever after. It should be founded on real friendship and partnership. But yeah, you should definitely give up on love if it is kind of selfish, not honest, you're using each other. If it feels unhealthy, that may not be the time to give up on love, but that is the time to communicate a lot and try and get things on track. And if it continues, then maybe giving up is common sense. All right. Yeah, Society from Majestically Jessica, great name. Society confuses love and lust, from Jason T. Blair. If it's not unconditional, it's not love. I think that's basically true if you're talking about, like, if you go through hard times, you got to be there for them. If I go through hard times, they got to be there for me. But at the same time, obviously, if things are physically abusive or kind of off the rails, there is a time when you can say, I love this person, but it's just not working right now. And you got to take care of number one. All right. Teresa actually answered the initial question. Society's confused notion of love is that someone else will stop our suffering and make us whole. Exactly. It's kind of like the fast food mentality when it comes to love. It's like, I want love, that'll make everything great, and then I'll be all set. But really, after you eat the burger and fries, you're like, oh, I don't feel that good. That wasn't that good for me. And I'm just hungry again in a couple hours. So if you want a fulfilling kind of love, it's got to be the sort of give and take that we talked about. Stephen, I feel like you must love yourself fully and realize that you are whole. As you realize that, you can accept more genuine love into your life. Now that is beautiful. Man, what Stephen said, Stephen Hewliston, you need to write. elephantjournal.com/submit. We could put that link in the comments, but at the top of every page of Elephant is a write button. I would love for you to just copy paste that and expand upon it. Majestically Jessica is on it again. Jelena, love is confused as a fairy tale idea. Exactly. Shakti. Mary knows Shakti. I know Shakti. Cindy. Not an expert. My corner of the topic is why in genuinely unlovable people to the zone where they can accept love. Sounds like good stuff. Love is given, but not everyone knows what to do with it. Yeah, I mean, often love is sort of commodified and selfish, and you try and take love, but you don't necessarily give it. Mick Verbruggen, Belgium. My parents think that love is constantly be together and always do things together. They think that doing things not together is weird. My opinion, when you do things apart, the love only grows because you develop yourself. Totally, right on. Not bad English at all, better than most of us. Yeah, it's really powerful to do things independently and do things together and maintain friendships when you're in a relationship instead of, many of us have friendships and then at some point we fall in love and we just drop all of our friendships. That happens again and again, and we ourselves are guilty of that. Joara Torres, I think we have to love ourselves and forgive ourselves first. Our past, our mistakes, and then love the other. I do not believe, or at least I have difficulty in accepting the idea of unconditional love. It really is semantics on some level. If unconditional love means he or she can beat me or steal from me or do drugs all over the place and make our lives a mess and I'll still love them and we'll be together, that's maybe not true. But if unconditional love is in sickness and health and richer and poorer, up and down, if kindness is a foundation beneath unconditional love, I think that's great. If it's not, then I don't know that it's love. Beautiful, Joara, and you should really write too. So the top of every page of Elephant, there you can click write. Joara, I would love to see you write. Say we talked. All right. Jason, can love in a partnered relationship be both want and need? I think sexually it could be, honestly, but I think if you need the other person to fill something that you yourself can't do, I think, maybe a little more loneliness is prescribed, and the universe or God or whatever it is tends to give us what we don't want, but what we need, which, for many of us is be alone until you love yourself, which is that Maitri notion, which is in the comments. Click on Maitri and read about that. And then once we're fully okay with ourselves, then we can be okay with others, up and down, good and bad. Otherwise, we tend to get irritated and blame others for stuff that's really our own stuff. Anyway, who knows? Yeah, Carla, exactly what you just said. Love is becoming an escape in our culture. I love good coffee. Everyone is fun in your own way. In their own way, from Jen. I love that. Yeah, we don't have to get too serious about this, right? Love is fun. Love is light. Love is serious. Love is heavy. Love is a dance. Alrighty. Maria. Yeah, if you've read the book, fantastic. Thank you. Honesty, chaos, love. Lovely pics, very touching. I need this book. Hey, your emoticon looks like the book. Kinda. Hayden. Hayden is a girl who is very cool. All right. She told me to read the book, so I'm going to read one paragraph, and then at the very bottom in comments, if you will say stop reading the book or keep reading the book, that would be great. Here's a quote from the book. I can't really read it because it's backward on the screen. Love is about... I can't read it. I can't read backward. Love is about finding one's match. We shall touch our minds and hearts together at once and never condescend nor aim for any goal between us but the truth. All right, I'm going to read a little bit. I'll just start with the first paragraph. If you're sick of it, just say stop. And if you're liking it, don't say stop. All right. So this was the first chapter I wrote after that date, and it felt really nice to write because I was really sad and lonely and in love and working way too hard. Not much has changed. Chapter 1, things I would like to do with you in the woods. The simplest things are often the truest. Richard Bach. It's a great quote. So again, throughout, I put little quotes by people who are far smarter than me. I would like to go a ways away to a cabin, and I would like to look you in the eyes, and you look me in the eyes, as lovers do, a soft, invisible smile, quiet, warm, calm. I would like to not come back for 10 days. 10 days is not enough, but it is longer than I have taken for myself in 11 years. It would be a first visit, a return to the woods of my youth. I can cut wood quite well and show you how. I can pick too much mint because I am distracted by you. The mint is strong, almost bitter in the wild. I would like to walk with you in the moonlight. The grass is wet. I can see you clearly in the dark, only you are black and white. But I cannot see how the gate opens, so I have to feel for it. And the ground is uneven, so, walking, talking, listening to and with you, I walk left, then right, as if tipsy. The ground is not flat out here, and I love you. I love that about nature. It is uneven. I would like to love you, but I do not know you, and I value space more than even love, for in space we can play. I would make a fort in our cabin out of sheets, and we can go inside and just lie there. I am looking at you, into you, and you are looking at me, into me, and we could read a paperback. I have a good reading voice. And we could read a and I could read the sentence twice. And we could read a paperback. I have a good reading voice, and we could have a fire, though it is not cold, but it would light up the fort, flickering warmly with shadows of our future. I would like to love you, and you love me, for love can only be shared. But my luck does not run that way these days, or for a while, and I have a feeling that I will not love and be loved again until all my luck is run out. Quote, a good traveler has no fixed plans and is not intent on arriving, end quote. Lao Tzu. I would like to talk with you about things I care about that others do not care about because they do not care about me, and here you care, not because you care about me, but because you care about the things I care about. That actually makes sense if you read it slowly. I would like to listen. I could do it half the night, hour turning over hour, until I fall asleep in your words. I need to make up time. I need to listen and breathe and take you in and just stop. That's probably a good place to stop. Keep reading. All right, let's take a quick vote, or I can just discuss more of your comments. Maybe I'll read one more paragraph. How's that? Seems like the mob is not out to get me to stop reading. I need to relax and breathe, and what I need most, of course, is to cry. But you will not see my tears, for I cannot quite cry yet. The mosquitoes, the water roaring beneath us, your unwritten life set like calligraphy on a new page, arching, bright, sharp, wandering, struggling, fast, laughing. Letting go is half the beauty in elegance. You are kind. I would like to bring a cheap paperback with pen illustrations, say, and read it in the crook of a tree, and I would gingerly walk there barefoot, and you would be overdressed in a $1 secondhand dress as if going to a play. You would skip stones in the creek, then I would try and outdo you. You would set out a picnic and a cold thermos of mint water, and I would eat your leftovers, and the trees far above would waver greenly in my eyes as I looked up at you, looking up at them. There is a yellow butterfly on the book, waving its wings without flying, softly. I wonder what it is thinking about today. Okay, I'll just read the whole first chapter. It's short. On the second to last night, I would like to make another fire, even though we do not need it for warmth, because it is summer, and we have old wool blankets. But the flickering flames, the shifting warm light, are the best light for talking endlessly, as if we were at camp, and sex is not the only thing humans can think about. And perhaps I could hold your hand. There is nothing better than holding a hand, feeling your fingers, your nails, your calluses, your palm. In your hand, held yet holding mine, feeling the stress and bruises of life, your strong fingers cautioning, rest now, you are cared for. When I awaken, I would like to meditate, with or without you. It is up to you. And I would like to do the samurai's calisthenics. I can show you how, and brush my teeth in the cold stream. And it is the woods, so I would not need to shave. But I might anyways, because sometimes it is doubly nice shaving in the woods, one face pressed up near to an old little mirror over a wash basin set on a rickety winter-worn wood shelf. And I would like to make dark, dark coffee in a French press, but you are better at it. I would like to care for you. I would like to see you again, though I know you are already in love with another, and so your love is not available to me. And the funny thing is, I do not mind. Perhaps when one has come over a long mountain pass and is hungry, happy, beaten, and sad, and finally humbled and lonely, perhaps then sunshine is enough. And perhaps next time we could go for more than 10 days and never return. Quote, if your mind isn't clouded by unnecessary things, then this is the best season of your life. End quote, by Wu Men. Alrighty. That's my first book, Things I Would Like to Do With You. It's eco-printed, and every book we give a donation to orphan baby elephants who could not think of a better cause, or we plant a tree, depending on where it's purchased. And it was printed locally, only 20 blocks from our office, and it's about sort of the Buddhist notion of love. Yeah, so I'll go over a couple of your comments, and then we can meditate for 2 minutes and get out of here. Joara, your comment means a lot to me and a lot to our editors. That's our favorite kind of comment, if everyone wants to like her comment, saying the last year of your life was very rough. And since I discovered your website less than 1 year ago, I'm learning, growing so much. Thank you very much, and keep reading. Trying to be of benefit is what Elephant is for, and we're independent media, and we need help, but not a lot of help. We just need you guys to read and to write and to get our newsletter, which is free. And then we'll be fine. With all this changes with Facebook, we've had a rough year as well. So we're in this together, unlike most media where it's sort of them treating you like a user or a consumer. This is, again, a relationship, like a love affair. It's a dance. So please do write, Joara. You're a wonderful writer, or you're saying wonderful things. All right, Brad. To be fair with everyone, I have come to a place where I don't act on my emotions fully unless my heart and my mind are in sync with one another. That sounds fantastic. I mean, Brad, that is a definition of meditation, is that you're synchronizing body, speech, and mind into the present moment. And from the present moment, we can be of service. And then we don't hurt others, right? And we can take care of ourselves. So Diane, you can get the book at elephantjournal.com/books, but Toby might have already left that in the comments, but elephantjournal.com/books. There's also a Get the Book link, I think, on our homepage. I'm not sure if that's true. Maybe Toby could say if that's true. All right, lots of other great comments. Holding space and autonomy to allow for love to grow. Ivy, is verbal abuse something that can be forgotten and worked on? That's a fantastic question. We do have a lot of blogs about emotional abuse, physical abuse. Verbal abuse, what is it? I mean, first of all, if it's just yelling at each other, just unkind words, just a mistake, that happens all the time. And we have to be, in a relationship, we have to be, even with ourselves, we make mistakes, we have to be able to come back and kind of not forgive ourselves right away. We need to regret it. We need to grow up from it, but then we can forgive ourselves and move forward. But verbal abuse sounds like a heavier classification. So than just sort of getting mad, like, why did you eat my last cake, you jerk? That might be like getting in an argument. You know, we all get in arguments, and that's okay. That's part of relationships. And in fact, if we can relax when we're in an argument, you can even have a sense of humor within an argument, and then it just dissolves back into that kind of love and friendship. But verbal abuse sounds like, so either we're classifying something relatively normal, which is disagreement and raised voices and all that in a relationship. It's not great, but it happens and it's part of it, and we can relax within it. We're classifying that as verbal abuse. That's not helpful. We need to give ourselves rooms to agree to disagree and to get through disagreement. But if you're talking about verbal abuses, someone is really belittling you, consistently trying to isolate you from your friends, trying to make you feel small, trying to make you feel bad about yourself, if it's actually this sort of abusive behavior, yeah, no matter how much you love that person, you can communicate with them clearly, but hopefully you already have. But if you haven't, communicate with them clearly and be brave about it and be safe about it if you don't feel safe. And if you do that and they don't listen, they don't grow up, then yeah, you gotta practice Maitri, like is in the blog, in the comments here, and move forward. Do yourself a favor. Alrighty. Well, thank you, Hayden, and everyone for encouraging me to read something. I really am. Elephant isn't about pushing product. We really, we only want to share things that are helpful, but some of what we do, like our articles and our books and our hats or whatever, are products. And the fact is, if we all can support products that are good for the world and good for us, that is great. There's nothing wrong with being conscious consumers, but we're in such a culture of just kind of encouraging consumption that it's, I don't want to come off as that. So if I do come off as that, please let me know. But I do want to encourage people to buy, support lots of mindful stuff. Like if you can buy organic, or if you can buy local, or if you can buy from an independent instead of a big corporation that's more about profits than about our planet. Alrighty, folks. There's more comments. So the reason the book was written is because I think our culture is invested in this sort of you complete me happily ever after. I talk about the reason I wrote the book, which I'm not going to read right now, in the introduction, in the pre-ramble, I think we called it. Well, maybe I will read it. It's the author's note. Super short. And it's not really about the book. It's about what kind of love should we look for if we want genuine happiness. We no longer long for happily ever after. We no longer believe in you complete me or Mad Men gender roles, but we all still love to love love. This book is an exploration of a love for a new generation, a love replete with intimacy and trust, a love with room for change and independence, a love without ownership. That's probably enough. A love that includes loneliness, humor, and friendship. A love that includes room for change, for humor, for loneliness, for independence. I mentioned all that. So instead of this sort of like claustrophobic two flames becoming one love, which is a nice notion, but it doesn't allow room for humor or for independence or for change. And then a lot of those loves will break instead of bend. Like the bamboo can bend because it's strong enough to be able to bend instead of just being rigid and cracking. Izzy has some good questions here. What about verbal put-downs about how I look physically that were not said in an abusive manner? I mean, if you're with a partner who's insulting you, how you look physically, that I think would be classified as a red flag. I don't know if it would be enough to break up right away, but if red flags accumulate, you gotta just take care of yourself. We all have problem. Like last year I was dating a girl who made some crazy fashion choices and had things, and we genuinely love each other, and but we had differences of opinion. So if it's just sort of like respectful and I'm I dress like a crazy idiot, so you can insult how I dress and that can be okay, but if it's said with some love and humor and caring, that's important. If it's not, you got to trust yourself. So in Buddhism, it says always trust the principal one, always trust yourself. So if you're really feeling like, hey, this is not said with kindness, this is, their aim is not to have a give and take relationship. Their aim is to hurt me or insult me or be better than me. That's not healthy. Yeah, if there's a genuine apology, that's fine. I mean, Izzy, we all say things we regret. Does he really regret it, or is he just trying to get past it If he actually regrets it, then maybe he was just trying to hurt you. And we do that with people we love, and it's not okay, but it happens. And a lot of stuff happens within love that mistakes, so it comes back to that Rilke quote that I read in the beginning. But I read it in the beginning, so you can just watch it, I guess. Here's a beautiful quote to end on, and then we'll meditate for 2 minutes. Sexiness wears thin after a while, and beauty fades, but to be married to a man who makes you laugh every day, now that's a real treat. Joanne Woodward on Living with Paul Newman. So, I did act in school, but I was horrible. Although I got a lot of starring roles because people expected me to be better. I was horrible, though. I was really bad. All right. If Toby's still around, maybe you could leave the red flags blogs in the comments. Those go into some good detail. But maybe Toby is gone because I started so late. Is anyone on from Elephant? Yeah, well, you readers, if you search red flags on elephantjournal.com and put it in the comments, I'll owe you one. All right, let's meditate. Nothing better than digesting some of this love into the present moment. So, take a good posture, straight up, perfect posture, but then relax. Feel your spine naturally kind of is natural curve going up. So it's straight but curved. Take a deep breath, a deeper breath than you've taken in 24 hours. Breathe right up to here and let it go. All right, that's not meditation, that's just relaxing. Now let's dedicate ourselves to the benefit of the world, including ourselves, with a little bow. Eyes are open and 45 degrees down. We're not trying to block the world out. Meditation does not have to mean eyes closed. Eyes are open. Hands are flat on our thighs. Breathe in, breathe out. Just practice breathing and being aware of your breath in and out, like waves on an ocean. In and out. Let's do that somewhat slowly. Normal breath. Say 5 times right now. Breathe in and out. In and out. Place your attention on your breath in and out. If you feel your body relaxing and opening up, that's a good sign that you're coming back to the present. So place your attention on your breath, in and out again. Now, if you find yourself thinking about your day, about your relationships, about your lunch, about your fears, about something you dislike, about the room around you, just label it thinking. Oh, I'm thinking. And return your attention to your breath. Let's try that. Breathe in, breathe out. If you find yourself distracted, label it thinking silently and return your attention to your breath. Okay, let's bow out. Take a good posture. Feel your heart between the heavens above and the solid, nurturing earth below, and give it away. All right, I'll see you Monday. We do these every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. MST, Mountain Standard Time. You'll get a notification on Facebook if you like this page. So it doesn't really matter exactly when I start. Or you can get the videos on youtube.com/Elephant Journal, or they're all under Walk the Talk Show. Best of all, with the blog and images and other stuff, with other resources on elephantjournal.com under Walk the Talk Show. All right, folks. There's a lot more comments still. Thank you so much.